Great day, holy brothers and sisters. Today is Sunday, March 11th. It is the 24th of ADAR. We are in the Kitzur Likutei Moharan for the daily lessons, and today's will be called Conspiratorial Concealments. There are two levels of concealment of God. There is a single concealment, and there is a concealment within a concealment. Now, when God is hidden from a person by a single concealment, then it is also very difficult to find him. Nevertheless, it is still possible to toil and strive until he finds God, since at least he is aware that God is concealed from him. But when God is hidden from a person by a concealment within a concealment, in other words, when the concealment itself is hidden from the person and he is completely oblivious to the fact that God is concealed from him, then it is impossible for him to find God, since he is totally unaware that God even exists in the first place. Know that when a person commits a transgression and repeats it, God forbid, he falls into the single concealment. At that point, although it is indeed difficult to leave the concealment and return to God, since God is already hidden from him and his transgression, he has already become like something permitted. Nevertheless, he is conscious of the concealment. In other words, he knows that his sin has become like something permitted. Consequently, it is still possible for him to reflect upon this, namely that he has fallen and entered into this concealment whereby God and the Torah are hidden from him to the point that his sin has become for him like something permitted. And accordingly, he can seek and strive until he emerges from there. But if, God forbid, after a person has sinned twice, he goes on to commit further transgressions, may God save us, he thereby falls into the concealment within concealment. Then God and the Torah are hidden from him to the point that he is totally unaware that such things are even prohibited or that they've become like permitted things. Rather, all of the evil things that have become totally indistinguishable for him, and it is as if the concept of prohibited does not even exist, God forbid. Nevertheless, there is no such thing as despair. Even when a person has fallen into the concealment within the concealment, there too, God's vitality is cloaked. For without God's vitality, absolutely nothing in the world can exist. Even the deepest forces of impurity and even sins, even the concealment within a concealment, also receive their vitality from God. A person who merits to know this fact has all the concealments nullified for him. He then merits to hear the grand proclamation of the Torah, which constantly and resoundingly proclaims, "How long will you fools love foolishness?" And he will merit to return to God. The way to attain this knowledge is through the Torah, for by engaging in Torah study, it is possible to awaken even a person who is in the concealment within the concealment, and to let him know about God, and that he too has hope, until he returns to the truth and draws close to God. For through the power of the true tzaddikim, the righteous, it is possible to draw close to God anytime and in any place, no matter what. Whatever a person may have done, whatever place he may have fallen to, God forbid, there too God's vitality is cloaked, because he gives life to everything, from Nehemiah 9:6. Then a person can return from wherever he is and can merit to hear the voice of the Torah. For the reason that people do not hear the grand proclamation of the Torah is because of the many concealments generated by their many sins. Because of our many sins, God is presently hidden from us in the concealment within the concealment, as described by the verse, "I will surely conceal my face," Deuteronomy 31:18. But by engaging in Torah study, a person eliminates the concealments until he is able, even those who are extremely far away, to hear the grand proclamation and the reproof of the Torah, until they all return to God. And there's one more side note that we were talking about. There's no such thing other than God. They talk about the evil inclination, how it draws people to do sins, but we must recognize that the evil inclination is actually our best friend in the world. It's like a coach who's trying to train somebody in boxing, and they keep hitting them and hitting them and hitting them, and they keep getting knocked down or punched in the face. But every time that person falls, they get up and they learn how to block better. So the coach doesn't get happy every time he knocks down the one that he's training. Rather, he's happier when the person learns to defend and learns how to fight and learns how to become stronger and wiser and smarter. So too, our evil inclination, because it's from God himself, is ultimately all good. So anytime we sin and give into that, he's crying on the inside. He wants us to do good, to do better, to beat him, and to become much more of a holy person connected to God. And that's our lesson for the day. Thank you so much for learning together. And God willing, we'll do it again tomorrow.